Most of us go through life using all kinds of objects, eating all kinds of food that comes out of all kinds of packages without giving them a second thought. Well, the shape and the look of those objects does not just happen, it happens by design. It is the art of industrial design. There have been great successes, say the Coca-Cola bottle and label, and great disasters, say the Edsel car. Industrial design truly identifies us. All those familiar objects reflect what and who we are. Well, there's one industrial designer who is truly the father of the art, Loewy. He's been designing for 70 years, and there's not a person in the country who does not recognize his handiwork. We are surrounded by it. He redesigned the Shell sign and was responsible for turning Esso into Exxon. When Coke wanted a better way of dispensing itself, it went to Loewy to design a machine. Way back when a tractor looked like this, International Harvester got him to redesign it so it looked like this. Then they got him to redesign their logo, which looks like this. And Pennsylvania Railroad once had trains like this, and Raymond Loewy made them look like this. Greyhound buses looked this way until Loewy made them look this way. When the post office got tired of its old symbol, Loewy gave it a new symbol, though some would say the horse moved faster than the eagle. But wheels have always been his pen. He took the old Studebaker and gave us the 1947 Studebaker. It revolutionized motor car design. His 53 Studebaker took the revolution a step further. Then he took that Studebaker and in 1961 designed the Avanti. Studebaker folded, they say, through bad management, but Avantis are still made for purists. He gave that up and away look to TWA. He put this package around Lucky Strikes and made Schick razors go from push-pull, click-click to buzz-buzz. When President Kennedy got Air Force One, he went to Loewy to design the soft, warm interior and the imposing presidential exterior. Everyone making almost everything went to Loewy, from beer containers and vitamin bottles to department stores and ferry boats and sewing machines and popcorn machines and tables and chairs and cups and saucers. All are worldly goods and even goods for outer space. When NASA wanted Skylab, they went to Loewy to make it an earthly place for men to live 300 miles up in space. Loewy himself lives in great comfort, partly in a chateau outside of Paris, and in the cold months in a house he designed in Palm Springs, California. He is 85 years old now, but his eye and his mind are as sharp as they ever were.
Good design is a design that does not get obsolete, number one. That stays classic, like a Greek statue. That's good design. Secondly, it should be humble. It should not jump at you. It should blend with the surroundings. That's good design. Anything violent, brutal, for me is cheap, vulgar. That's junk. Good design is simple. When you look at it, you have the impression of great simplicity, the beauty of simplicity. If it looks gadgety and complicated, it's not good design.
Because, I'll tell you something, I see something here right in your studio. I would say that's good design.
Yes.
And I would say that's bad design.
This is absolutely awful. It's the only thing I could find in Palm Springs 25 years ago or 30 years ago with 3 lights on. As soon as I can, I'll discard that. I think it's junky, it's terrible. But that's the art of 25 years ago, and I did not design it, believe me.
Loewy started designing in Paris. He got a patent on a model airplane when he was only 15. He arrived in America in 1919 and took a job as a fashion illustrator, then started doodling, improving on the look of things. His first real assignment was from the Gestetner Company. In the 20s, he took their Rube Goldberg duplicating machine and transformed it. What he has designed could fill a museum, and many things have been placed in the Metropolitan, the Smithsonian, and the Museum of Modern Art, including his own office that he designed in the early 30s. Loewy is one of the founders of streamlining. You can see it in his 1934 Hotmobile. The design was not only for aesthetic, but for aerodynamic effect. His point was to make commonplace things easy to look at and easy to use. And that is visible in all of his work. Even things that seem old-fashioned now have a classic look to them. In Palm Springs, we asked him to cast his eye on some recent designs in one of the biggest shops there, the Allen Ladd hardware store.
Now, I'll let you guess, say how you can tell time from that clock.
Well, there's a square with some fabric, and then inside it another square, and then a black piece of glass. Well, I can't guess.
Wait, clap your hand in this. Here's the time. But please, okay. Now above it is a much less sophisticated clock, but at least it tells you what time it is.
Easy to read.
And it's cheaper. Phony adaptation of technology, because this is high technology, you know. You look at that, this is fantastic.
What about the packaging?
This package, well, those three roaches seem to look at television. I'm sure it's not 60 minutes, but they are looking at television anyway. I think it's...
You don't feel it's threatening enough? I mean,
no,
as packaging.
I think it's a dreadful package. But these batteries, for instance, are very well designed.
And packaged.
And packaged. It's plain, it's
But
simple,
what would you
nice.
do? What would you have? Roach being stomped on, or
No,
what?
I would show them on their back with their legs up and killed, which is, I think is a purpose.
Can we find something good?
Oh, here's a this is a beautifully designed hook. You don't see the fasteners, you don't see the screws, you see?
Is good design more expensive than bad design?
No, it's usually cheaper. That's one of my main, most irritating things for me, that the added artistic touch adds cost and makes the thing usually, if not ugly, at least a little bit vulgar. Oh, here's a very interesting little gadget. Oh, this one is very expensive. It's how much?
$133.
$130, but I've not been able to find out.
What does it do?
I don't know. I don't know. It probably...
Oh, hold on. What is this, Stu?
It's wino.
A wino. It's not a nutcracker.
Oh, excuse me.
Here's one for $2.50.
These are good. Oh my God! Yeah, look at that one. Can you imagine a poor kid who has been told that he must go to the toilet and get there and see that, must be frightened stiff and
put a tiger in your tank.
You put a tiger. Oh my God! No, that's funny.
Is there art in something as familiar as a garbage truck?
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say art, but it's designed purely for function. And usually what expresses function correctly, directly, is good. Then that's permanent value, aesthetically speaking.
Among all the things that you designed, what was the biggest challenge, the most exciting?
NASA, without any doubt. NASA. Skylab. My assignment was to make sure that 3 men could stay 3 months in space. And asked me, would you accept the responsibility? And I accepted it with great pride, and spent many nights wondering if I had guessed right, because what we did had to be educated intuition rather than anything else.
No experience.
No experience whatever. We had to establish in space a 1G atmosphere, ambience. 1G being, well, the gravity 1, which is Earth's gravity, compared to 0G, which is no gravity in space. But mostly, and the most important, they all agree, that I wanted a porthole, that is a window on the world. So by putting a porthole in, they spent most of their free time looking at the Earth. They could see highways, they could see cities. They were not isolated from the world, and that did a great deal for the morale.
This could be the best representation of Raymond Loewy's work. Uncluttered, unself-conscious. The Avanti was designed about 20 years ago. A look and shape that it would seem will never be out of date.
In what way did this car revolutionize design? It does not look like a practically 20-year-old car.
First, I eliminated the grill. So the intake is way down there, where it should be. All racing cars, they pick up, the closer you are to the ground, the more air you get in. Secondly, I wanted an off-center treatment. I don't like balanced design. Large window here, good rear vision.
Well, this is pretty standard stuff on cars now.
Yes, yes, it's accepted now, for taken for granted, but it was new at the time, in '61. To appreciate this job, one has to feel it flowing, you know. By touch, you sense the form, at least I do. Even better with my eyes closed.
Does the look of a thing really make any difference? I mean, does it matter to consumers?
I think the best way to answer that is at a dinner party here in Palm Springs about 2 years ago. I was sitting next to a charming lady who said, Loewy, you are a designer. Yes. I understand you designed the Exxon sign. But why did you design it that way, with 2 X's? I said, why? Why do you ask me? Because I couldn't help notice it. Well, said, that's the answer. When you design a sign, it's to attract attention. And I attracted your attention. I'm not saying that's the difference between success or failure, but it may be between success or great success. And that's what it happened to be. And when you are talking about mass selling for companies like that, any ingredient or any accent that might attract attention more to that station than to the next one is very important.
Have you ever refused commissions? Are there certain things you would not design?
Yes, 2. One is a casket, because anything's got to do with death. Death doesn't scare me. I'm used to the idea, but it bores me terribly. The other one, I was invited here for lunch by someone, by a friend of mine, who said, I'd like you to meet a manufacturer who is a very bright man. He has a new product he'd like to talk to you about. He said, we've developed a new hand grenade, and we would like to increase the fragmentation so we get perhaps smaller fragments, but more of them.
More killing power.
More killing power or wounding power. And I was so shocked that I left the table and the lunch and came back here. I think it's the most shocking thing to ask me to design. I've never touched a thing like that. And both are connected with end of life, as you see.
What is the most perfectly designed thing that you've ever seen?
For me, it's the egg, because the form of the egg is absolutely streamlined, functional. It goes through the chicken with a minimum of friction. If it were a cube, for instance, the life of the chicken would be unbearable. Can you imagine? So I think it's a perfect design.
The egg may be just about the only thing that Raymond Loewy has not thought of redesigning. At 85, most men have become conservative in their ideas and prefer the present or the former shape of things to new ideas. Not so with Loewy. He still works day and night at his drawing board, looking for ways of improving the most ordinary objects. A design for living that is as beautiful and practical and painless as the egg.